Is it really the Cowboys' year? They've been asking since '95, so we'll take a look in the Dallas Cowboys 2023 season outlook.
ATL Jacob, ATL Jacob.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. I'm Chase Yantz. Tonight, we're going to be talking about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, a team that finished 12-5 last year, went 4-1 without their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, and finally made back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time since the 2006 season and 2007 season. Dallas, they were consistent most of the year. Their defense was pretty strong. Their offense was able to really catch their stride later on in the season. They were a very well-constructed football team. Their coaching was well, with Kellen Moore on the offensive coordinator side, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, Mike McCarthy as the head of it. I thought Dallas did a good job of punishing their opponents and really establishing their identity this past season, but they lost to the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round, 19-12. With Ezekiel Elliott, who is no longer on the Dallas Cowboys, final play was lined up at center. The Cowboys, I'm not going to say they're in dysfunction, but they certainly had a lot of things that they need to take care of this offseason to really get their true identity down in shape to really make it potentially their year. So they had adds and losses, even in the coaching side of things, that we're going to take a look at coming up. The Cowboys lost guard Connor McGovern to the Buffalo Bills, and they lost a pair of pass catchers in Dalton Schultz and Noah Brown to the Houston Texans. And one of the biggest releases that they made this offseason was cutting Ezekiel Elliott, the running back who played 7 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. And Kellen Moore, their offensive coordinator, goes over to Los Angeles to coach up Justin Herbert and the Chargers. But on the plus side for the Cowboys, they made 2 pretty big trades. Brandon Cooks addresses the need for speed for this unit of receivers. It comes over from Houston Texans. And then Stephon Gilmore, traded from the Indianapolis Colts to Dallas, and is now along running mate Trayvon Diggs. And Ronald Jones comes from the Kansas City Chiefs, hopefully to add some more depth in that backfield after cutting Ezekiel Elliott. The Dallas offense is under new leadership in Brian Schottenheimer, son of great late NFL coach Marty Schottenheimer. He inherits a team that was top 10 in yards per game last season, as well as number 4 in scoring. His quarterback, Dak Prescott, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions last season. He missed 5 games, didn't throw for 3,000 yards, completed 66% of his passes, and had a 91.1 rating, just above the league average. To say the least, Dak Prescott was not great last season. He turned the ball over too much. He put the ball in harm's way, and obviously that didn't work for them. But they were good enough to win games, and Dak Prescott did make some plays when he needed to. He really stepped up in that playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So obviously it's there that Dak can ball and play like a top 10 quarterback. But he's going to need the help of some of his supporting cast. Tony Pollard, now the starting running back, had under 200 carries last year, but had over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and had 39 catches out of the backfield with 3 touchdown receptions. So Tony Pollard's utilization in this offense is going to be key, as he's going to be one of the main components or chess pieces that the Cowboys are going to flourish with. CeeDee Lamb had a great season, 107 receptions, 1,359 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He's a top 10 receiver. He's been slept on the last couple of seasons. He plays a lot in the slot, so he doesn't really get the love that he deserves. But CeeDee Lamb is, again, in for another great season and potentially an even bigger one, even with the addition of Brandon Cooks. 57 catches, 699 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Normally a 1,000-yard receiver guy. So we'll see what happens with him as he can take the top off the defense. And then Michael Gallup, who came off of the knee injury in 2021, was slower last year at 39 catches, 424 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So this Cowboys offense is very dynamic. And they also added, they had to put in Jake Ferguson at the tight end position to fill Dalton Schultz's void. But this Cowboys offense is very dynamic, and with Brian Schottenheimer coming into play, maybe he can vary some things up and make life easier for Dak Prescott to get the ball to his weapons, which is what most offensive coordinators try to do, especially with this offensive line that they have. It's a good offensive line. It's one of the best in the National Football League. They can run the football really well. They can, run block, pass block's pretty good. So there's a lot to work with for Brian Schottenheimer with this cast that the Dallas Cowboys present on the field. When looking at this Cowboys defense, getting Dan Quinn back as their DC is huge value. He easily could have been a head coach this past offseason, but decided to stay with the boys in blue. This defense last year had the highest pressure rate in the National Football League, was third in sacks, and they were a top 10 scoring defense. Looking up front, DeMarcus Lawrence had 6 sacks last year on 65 tackles and 3 forced fumbles. Mozzie Smith, the first-round pick number 26, is there to plug the middle for this Cowboys defense. Looking at the next level, Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker, had 90 tackles and a sack. Damone Clark had 47 tackles. The secondary got better. Stephon Gilmore comes over from Indianapolis at 66 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 passes defended. Donovan Wilson, Jerron Kearse are a very good safety duo. And then on the other side, Trayvon Diggs, who had a historic 2021 season, had a pretty good 2022 season, 3 interceptions and 14 passes defended on 59 tackles. So this Cowboys defense is nice, but I'm going to tell you this. I hadn't mentioned a guy yet named Micah Parsons, number 11. He breaks a game in such a unique way. He can fill an A-gap, and he can make a right or left tackle look silly as can be. He does it differently than TJ Watt and Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa and whatever pass rusher you want to say. Micah Parsons had 65 tackles, 13.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. When I talk about an ultimate chess piece as a defensive player, that doesn't happen a whole lot. But it's him. He's literally him. I'm not going to lie. All right? Micah Parsons, he's so versatile. He's so slippery. He is strong. He's violent. There's so many things that set Micah Parsons apart from his fellow pass rushers, or as they call him, linebacker, because he's an edge rusher. He can play linebacker, whatever position you want to play. He sets himself so far apart from other defenders in the National Football League. It's quite literally scary when teams are game planning for this Cowboys defense because they see number 11 on the other side waiting to absolutely dismantle your quarterback, your offense, and your dreams of winning a game every Sunday. Looking at this Cowboys schedule, they play 6 primetime games and 7 nationally televised 425 games, including a Thanksgiving matchup against the Washington Commanders. If I have to pick a game on this schedule that the Cowboys should be looking forward to, it's Week 5 Sunday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers, the team that ended their season the last 2 years in very dramatic fashion, losing by 1 score or less in both of those games. So, and also, I want to mention this. The lowest ticket price on Vivid Seats for this game is $305. When looking at the Cowboys' Week 1 opponent, they play the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football in New Jersey. It's a rivalry that always gets the Week 1 attention. They hate each other. There's not really a whole lot else to say there. Dallas has to come out and set the tone against this Giants defense, which has gotten better, and go on ahead and show what their offense is made of. This is a great time for Brian Schottenheimer to debut what Dak Prescott and the Cowboys can do in this new system that he's putting in, and then for Dan Quinn and the defense to go out and fire shots on their little brothers of the NFC East. So this is a great moment for the Dallas Cowboys to go out there and win a nationally televised game to kick off their season the right way. When I'm looking at their overall projected record, I'm not going to say record, but I think they will make the playoffs. I think they're looking at a wild card. I think they're going to win over 10 games again this season. 3 years in a row in the playoffs, it's pretty impressive. I think Philly's going to win this division, but this is to say that nobody has won this division back-to-back, I think, since this division became a thing back in the early 2000s. So if, Dallas, I think they're a really good team and they have a great shot of winning this division. Philly's in the way, but it's going to be a heavyweight fight between those two if I, had to put my money on it.